Long ago, in the heart of a thriving West African savanna, there lived a young man named Ton. He was clever, sharp-eyed, and known across the land for his curious nature. Ton lived in the village of Aroga, a peaceful settlement where tradition ruled and silence was sacred, but something strange began to stir. A revered old drum, once used only during royal gatherings, began to beat itself at night. No one touched it. No one claimed to hear it. Except Ton, and the villagers did not like that. The drum sat under a sacred Iroko tree in the village square. It had not been touched since the death of the old chief, 3 years ago. The elders believed it carried the voice of their ancestors, and should not be played unless in times of great need. One night, while walking home from the river, Ton heard it boom. Boom boom. Boom, the rhythm was soft, but clear. It echoed in the air like whispers carried by the wind. He turned around. No one. He went to the drum. Still. Silent, he rubbed his eyes. Perhaps I'm tired, but the next night. It happened again. Ton told his father, who was a well-respected hunter. His father frowned deeply. You must not speak of this again. That drum is not to be disturbed. The last man who defied it vanished. But I heard it, Baba. Then let your ears forget. Word spread like wildfire. Some called Ton a liar. Others said he had gone mad. The village elders summoned him and warned. You must not go near the drum again. Its voice is not for the ears of the living. Ton nodded respectfully. But curiosity burned like a hot coal in his chest. One night, unable to resist, Ton sneaked out. The moon was half hidden behind drifting clouds. As he reached the village square, he froze. The drum was gone, only a hollow circle in the dust remained, surrounded by footprints, bare footprints, as though many had gathered and danced around it. He followed the prints. They led him toward the old quarry outside the village. There, under the shadow of a rocky cliff, sat the drum. Ton crept closer, heart pounding. Who brought it here? Suddenly, crack. A twig snapped behind him. Ton ducked and hid behind a boulder. From the shadows, he saw them, not spirits, not ghosts, but men. Familiar men. Elders. Young warriors. Even his father, one by one, they circled the drum, hands on their hearts, eyes closed. Then, one elder beat the drum in a coded rhythm, a pattern of signals. Ton realized, the drum was a secret communication tool. It wasn't haunted. It was used by a hidden society within the village, watchers of peace, guardians of truth, protectors of the land. They passed warnings, messages, and instructions without speaking a word, and Ton had discovered their secret. The next morning, Ton was summoned again, this time, by a mysterious letter left on his doorstep, tied with a strip of leopard hide. It read, "Come alone. At sunset. Tell no one." He obeyed. At sunset, he arrived at the quarry, where the society waited in a half-circle. His father stood beside the drum. "You were not supposed to know," his father said, "but you heard what others could not. You followed truth, even when it isolated you. Then the elder stepped forward. Ton, will you keep our secret? Or will you speak and break the peace we've kept for generations? Ton looked around. Then, he knelt before the drum and said, I will keep the silence. But I will also keep watching. For truth is louder than the drum. From that day on, the drum never beat itself again. Ton never spoke of what he saw. But from time to time, a soft rhythm could still be heard at night, and only the wise knew what it meant. Ton eventually became a great leader, one who knew that not all truth needs to be shouted, and not every mystery is meant to be solved by the many. Moral lessons. Curiosity leads to truth, but truth must be handled with wisdom. Not all things that seem strange are supernatural, some are hidden for a reason. Silence can be strength. Knowing when to speak and when to listen is a powerful skill. Leadership is not about knowing everything, but about knowing what to do with what you know.
My name is Amanda, and this is the story of how I rose from nothing, from the dust and broken dreams of my childhood, into the woman I am today. A woman who walks in grace not because life was kind, but because I learned how to survive its storms. I was born in a small village, where the sun beat down on the red earth like an angry god, and hunger wasn't just a feeling, it was part of our daily routine. My mother was a seamstress who never earned enough, and my father, well, he left when I was barely 2. I never knew the sound of his voice or the safety of his arms. It was just my mother and me, against the world. She worked her fingers raw so I could go to school. I remember her waking up before dawn, stitching clothes under a flickering lamp, humming lullabies to herself. Education is the key, she would whisper more to herself than to me. And I'll be damned if my daughter stays stuck in this mud. But the world wasn't kind. When I was 11, my mother fell ill. At first, she just seemed tired. Then her body began to fail her. She died quietly one rainy night, her hand in mine, her last words urging me to be strong. That night, I grew up. I was passed from one relative to another. Some kind, others not so much. I learned quickly how to protect myself, how to read people, how to hide my tears until no one was watching. I sold water on the street, cleaned houses after school, and sometimes went to bed hungry. But I never dropped out of school. Never. Books became my escape, my secret world. I would read in candlelight until my eyes burned anything I could find. I remember reading a tattered copy of Things Fall Apart under my aunt's bed, and something in me just clicked. I wanted more. I wanted everything. I finished high school top of my class and won a scholarship to a small college in the city. That was a turning point. I was rough around the edges, unsure in crowds, and painfully aware of my second-hand clothes and thick accent. But I was hungry not for food anymore, but for knowledge, for progress, for freedom. In college, I worked part-time as a cleaner at a restaurant. That's where I met Mrs. Owusu, a wealthy woman who owned a chain of boutiques. She saw me reading behind the counter one afternoon and struck up a conversation. I guess she saw a bit of herself in me. She too had come from nothing. She became my mentor, teaching me everything about business, poise, and self-worth. After graduation, she helped me start a small clothing brand. Nothing fancy, just handmade accessories and dresses. I designed, I sewed, I marketed, and I delivered orders myself. Slowly, word spread. My brand grew. I began dressing small influencers, then local celebrities. Within 5 years, I had 3 stores and an online platform that shipped across the country. And then, one afternoon at a charity fashion show, I met David. He was quiet, not the flashy, boastful kind, just a man with kind eyes and a sharp mind. We talked for hours that night about books, purpose, and the weight of expectations. I didn't know until later that he was one of the youngest tech millionaires in the country. He never led with money. Instead, he led with sincerity. We dated for 2 years, and throughout, he never treated me like a woman from humble beginnings. He saw me not for what I had or didn't have, but for who I was. Independent, resilient, real. We got married last year. It was a quiet ceremony in the garden of our home. No extravagant press, no headlines. Just love, laughter, and the sweet scent of orange blossoms in the air. Now, I sit here 32 years old, sipping tea on a sunny veranda, writing my story not because it's over, but because I want other young girls to know. Your beginning doesn't define your end. I'm still rising, still growing, still becoming.
Rain lashes against the windows of Westwood High Library as Ethan, consumed by boredom, navigates digital textbooks on his tablet. Lost in the tactile world of a worn history book, Maya unearths a mysterious page adorned with cryptic symbols and numbers. In a moment of discovery, Maya softly exclaims, "Hey, check this out." Ethan and Maya storm into the school's computer lab, their determination radiating in every step. Ethan's fingers dance across the keyboard, a symphony of keystrokes unlocking secrets hidden in lines of code. Maya, her brow furrowed in intense concentration, dissects the intricate code with unwavering focus. A breakthrough emerges, revealing the code's ancient origins. Pascal, a relic from programming's past. With skillful precision, Ethan crafts a Pascal program, unlocking the door to a hidden message. The message crystallizes, revealing a crucial clue. Westwood Archive, Room 302. A jolt of adrenaline surges through them as the weight of their discovery settles in. Westwood Archive, Room 302. Under the cloak of night, Ethan and Maya infiltrate the silent, forgotten depths of Westwood Archive. In the eerie stillness, Maya's nimble fingers dance over the lock of Room 302, a gateway to secrets long concealed. Inside the vault of forgotten technology, rows of relics stand in silent testament, their secrets guarded by dust and shadows. Amid the relics of the past, an antique terminal emerges, its screen veiled in dust, awaiting a touch to awaken its dormant voice. With a gentle wipe, Ethan uncovers a blinking cursor and a cryptic note, a silent plea echoing from the depths of time. In the heart of Greenleaf Forest, Ario, a minuscule ant, stands on a pebble, mesmerized by the towering Mount Everpeak. Bathed in golden light, Ario whispers with determined awe, "If only I could move that mountain." Ario strides along the forest path, his eyes set on the distant silhouette of Mount Everpeak, a symbol of his unwavering ambition. In a moment of serene stillness, Ario encounters Momo, a wise old tortoise resting near the trail, his presence a gentle challenge to Ario's haste. With gentle curiosity, Momo asks, "Where are you off to in such a hurry, little one?" Ario, filled with determination, declares, "I'm going to move that mountain." Weeks later, Arios' relentless efforts to move pebbles against an unyielding mountain are met with amusement from his fellow ants. Exhausted and disheartened, Ario slumps under a leaf, his once bright dream now clouded with doubt. Just as Ario's spirit wanes, Lumi descends like a beacon of hope, her gentle light cutting through the gloom. Luma's simple question reignites Arios' resolve, reminding him that even the most daunting goals are achievable with unwavering perseverance. In the heart of Greenleaf Forest, Ario ignites a spark of unity, rallying creatures great and small to a common cause. With fervent determination, Ario proclaims, "Together, we can move this mountain." Fueled by Ario call, BZ orchestrates the beetles. Momo lends his sturdy shell, and the birds soar, each contributing to a symphony of collective strength. In a breathtaking display of unity, the forest creatures exemplify the boundless potential of community and collaboration. With agonizing slowness, the colossal mountain trembles as dust and pebbles rain down its slopes. Ario witnesses his impossible dream materialize before his eyes, his heart swelling with pride and joy. The forest creatures erupt in jubilant cheers, their collective might having conquered the unyielding. As the sun dips below the horizon in Greenleaf Forest, the sky erupts in a symphony of golden hues, casting a reverent glow upon the land. Ario, BZ, Momo, and Lumi stand tall, their eyes locked onto Mount Everpeak. The air vibrates with the echoes of perseverance and unity, a testament to their collective strength.
In a quiet village, nestled between golden fields and whispering trees, there lived a mother whose love knew no boundaries, no conditions, and no limits. But what happens when that love is taken for granted? This is the story of Adama and the price of a mother's love. Adama was a widow, raising her only son, Kofi, all on her own. She worked from sunrise to sunset farming, fetching water, cooking, selling fruits in the market all for him. Kofi was the light in her eyes, the beat of her heart. She had little, but she gave him everything. And in her heart, she believed that one day he would grow to become a great man and never forget who made it possible. But time changes many things. As Kofi grew, so did his desire to leave the village. He dreamed of the city, its lights, its wealth, and its freedom. The stories he heard made his simple home feel small. He began to push his mother away. "You know nothing of the world," he said one night. "You're holding me back." Her heart broke, but she said nothing. Mothers often carry their pain in silence. One morning, without a proper goodbye, Kofi left. No hug, no blessing, just the sound of footsteps fading into the wind. Adama stood still, her eyes wet, her arms aching to hold him one last time. She whispered a prayer not for him to return, but for him to be safe. That's the kind of love only a mother understands. The city welcomed Kofi with open arms and cold hearts. He worked odd jobs, made fast friends, and chased a life of excitement. But the more he tried to climb, the more he fell. Soon he had nothing. His so-called friends vanished, and for the first time, he thought of his mother, not her words, but her warmth. That night he had a dream. He saw Adama standing at the river, calling his name. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were tired. Behind her, a shadow whispered, "The price of a mother's love is a broken heart." When he awoke, he walked. Days turned into weeks, feet bleeding, belly empty. But the thought of his mother kept him going. He reached the village gate, trembling. He was afraid. What if she was gone? What if she didn't want to see him? He knocked, once, twice, and then the door creaked open. She looked at him, this man with sunken cheeks and tearful eyes. She didn't ask why he left. She didn't scold him. She just opened her arms and said, "Welcome home, my son." Kofi stayed, not just out of guilt, but out of gratitude. He cooked for her, he worked beside her. For the first time, he saw her not as someone beneath him, but as someone who had carried him all along. They say a mother's love is free, but that's not true. It costs her youth, her sleep, her dreams, her very soul. But she gives it anyway because to her, your life is worth more than hers. So if you're lucky enough to still hear her voice, call her, visit her, thank her. Because the price of a mother's love is too high to repay, but never too late to honor.